think the first time I had a serious conversation with Charles Emmons was at the African American Research Library. Uh, there was an event being held there on the third floor, and I had previously looked at some of his articles that he had written in other publications, specifically in the Black. And of course, as a community publication, we're always looking for talented and creative writers, which I thought Charles to be. And after talking for a few moments, I asked him if he would be interested in being a contributor for the Denver Urban Spectrum. That was almost 10 years and 40 articles ago. And if my memory serves me correctly, his first article was about Project Education Sudan and the Independence Day of the Republic of South Sudan. And since then, Charles has submitted numerous articles, ranging from businesses, Black history, entertainment, youth, politics, education, international issues, the arts, sports, community, and human interest stories. You name it, and he would take it on. I remember how when I asked him, if he'd take an assignment, he'd always wait a couple of seconds, and then he'd think about it, ask me a couple of questions, and he'd always say yes. Profiles were vast and many, including local and national figures, including two-time Super Bowl champ Rod Smith, also former Denver Mayor Wellington Webb, businessman Anthony Brownlee, music producer Bobby Wells, who actually has done the soundtrack for some of the music on this video. Also, he's did local people, local chefs like Chef D, Scott Durham, and Chef Donald. He also did stories on Najee and also media mogul Tyler Perry, which was a rarity because he seldom did interviews. In 2016, he did extensive reporting for the Webb Report, which was a publication produced by myself and former Denver Mayor Wellington Webb on the 2016 presidential election. But most recently, our December issue was very special, commemorating the election of President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris. We also looked at the challenges faced to that journey to the White House in the battleground states of Michigan, Georgia, Pennsylvania, and Arizona. Charles accepted both of those articles, those assignments, and did a phenomenal job. Having family members in 3 of those battleground states, he interviewed several of them and included him in his article. Little did we know those 2 articles would be his last contributions to the Denver Urban Spectrum as a journalist. Those would be his last contributions to the world. Needless to say, we were surprised, shocked, and very saddened to hear of his passing shortly thereafter. And the pandemic, of course, has prevented many people from gathering to pay tribute and bid farewell to their loved ones. Our hope at the Denver Urban Spectrum is that this video tribute and digital publication of his collection of writings over the years will display what a wonderful person Charles was and is and will always be to his family and friends, and also his contributions to society. So Charles, we bid farewell, but not without thanking you for being a big part of the Denver Urban Spectrum. We thank you for all that you have done. We will miss you immensely. May God bless you for touching so many hearts and so many lives. and may you rest in peace.
Remembering Charles Emmons, January 22, 1956 to December 4, 2020. A devoted husband and son, loving uncle and brother, philanthropist, and award-winning journalist, Charles Walker Emmons died in Denver at 64. It is not surprising that only after his passing were the depth and breadth of Charles Emmons' journalistic achievements fully realized. A quiet, family-oriented man who could sit for hours without saying a word, Mr. Emmons' contributions to Denver Urban Spectrum alone comprise more than 40 articles, about 20 of which were cover stories, produced during an accomplished second career. I am a writer and content provider who is passionate about telling stories that might not otherwise be told, Mr. Emmons once posted. Writing about business and community leaders, politics, entertainers, sports figures, and lifestyles, my subjects are varied but always pertinent. A compilation of some of his work and a video tribute from his friends and colleagues is available on the Spectrum's website, denverurbanspectrum.com. Mr. Emmons earned a BA in Russian Studies from Principia College in 1978 and briefly considered leveraging his language skills in the armed forces. Following a visit to Russia, however, he chose to settle in Denver, where his mother Audrey and brother Thomas lived. He worked for the Aurora bookstore for more than 30 years and retired as the store's general merchandise manager in 2011, a role in which he managed a $1.2 million budget and was responsible for both purchasing and marketing all non-book products, including computers, clothing, and school and office supplies. During his tenure at Aurora, Mr. Emmons earned a master's in mass communications from the University of Denver in 1991 and launched a side career in journalism and public relations. In addition to Denver Urban Spectrum, his work has appeared in Colorado Tennis, Core, Colorado's business resource magazine, In the Black magazine, Perspective, The College Store, and YourHub.com. He earned 5 Scribes in Excellence Awards from the Colorado Association of Black Journalists, CABJ, in 1999, 2002, 2013, 2015, and 2016. In addition, he was also the recipient of the CABJ Print Journalist of the Year Award in 2016. Mr. Emmons was a dedicated philanthropist as well. While his resume notes roles as a volunteer for Kuvo radio station in the early 1990s and as a trustee, member of the PR committee, and volunteer for Denver Kids, Inc. in the mid-1990s, his commitment to improving the lives of others ran much deeper than those references indicate. In high school, Charles was like a wonderful big brother, always watching out for me and setting a great example to follow, says longtime friend Eric Mosley. Later in life, I continued to look up to Charles, admiring his grace, wisdom, and kindness. He is deeply missed. Margaret Fomer, the retired executive director of Denver Kids, Inc., shares that sentiment. He had a servant's heart, Mrs. Fomer says. He was a father figure who helped kids understand what it means to be a leader. He was an effective mentor who saw kids' potential and helped them succeed. He was very caring. He was the real deal. Mr. Emmons' philanthropic work extended to another community-based organization, Youth with a Future, as well. He wrote articles that garnered public attention and as a mentor would encourage students to complete and excel in school. He would also review students' essays for the organization's ebook. He was very encouraging and supportive of young people, says Dr. Robert Fomer, Youth with the Future's executive director. He was a gifted writer who was willing to share his talent. We would meet in coffee shops. He would sit across the table and listen to our needs. And then he would say, "Let me see how I can help." Mr. Emmons is survived by Jackie, his wife of 20 years, his brother Thomas, nieces Amber Cook and Miranda Emmons, grandniece Edison Cook, and grandnephew Philip Cook.
Hi, my name is Donnie Betts, and I'm honored to say a few words about the great journalist and friend, Charles Emmons. He wrote a couple articles about me that I remember very distinctly. One was for the Urban Spectrum. He wrote an article about my podcast, Destination Freedom Black Radio Days. Then he wrote for In the Black, an article about a film I did on Oscar Brown Jr., Music is My Life, Politics My Mistress. Charles had a way of writing that was unique. He was always very personable and always brought out the best, I think, in the people that he interviewed. I just want to say thank you, rest in power, and my condolences to his family, friends, and colleagues. Thank you again for allowing me to say just a few words about Charles Emmons and the great person that he was, and heaven just connected another angel. Thank you.
You know, this is a celebration of Charles's life, and I have to tell you, he was so instrumental in CABJ. He supported everything, and even though we are sad that he's no longer with us, I have to tell you, I cannot stop thinking about all the support. Even when he wasn't there, he supported my efforts and Amani's efforts. And to Jackie, we love you. We want you to know that we are with you, because I can't say I know what this feels like, but I do know that if I live long enough, I will experience it. And so I want to be in a position just to say, we thank you, Charles. Even though your physical being isn't here, your spiritual being will always be with us, and you were one hell of a brother.
Well, I can honestly say that, if you had 15 to 20 words with Charles, you had an in-depth conversation. The brother was quiet-spoken, such a quiet soul, but he was one heck of a writer. And if you were honored to have a story written by him, you can guarantee it was accurate, it was well written, and whatever the story was, it came to life on the pages that he put his words on. So I can honestly say that this is a little short for me, because I envision spending many years with Charles sitting out on the patio and having, 3 or 4 word conversations. But you always knew where he stood, and he was an angel for real. So
Sweet brother.
to Jackie, just remember all the sweet things, remember the positive things, and just know that you're loved.
Absolutely. We'll miss you, Charles, but we'll never forget you, ever.
Hello, my name is Bruce Hunter, and I'm the former CEO of Core Media. I've had the privilege and honor of knowing Charles Emmons for the past 15 years. In the fall of 2004, we started Core Magazine, and Charles was an integral and important member of our team. He established himself as the lead writer, and I don't think we would have had any level of success without Charles's participation. He was a man of integrity, honor. He was a great personal friend. His professional accomplishments elevated us in every way. They say a measure of a man is his ability to elevate those around him. And Charles helped me to elevate myself, both professionally and personally. He's a dear friend. We loved him dearly, and we're in contact with him up until this past summer. We will miss him dearly, and we extend our condolences to his family.
Hi, my name is Kirk Ashmead, and I'm Charles' brother-in-law, but not really brother-in-law. We were more like brothers. You know, I've missed times with Charles that we've been, vacationing together. We've been vacationing in Hawaii, we've been vacationing in St. Kitts, and we've been on vacation in Jamaica. And I remember this trip that we had in Jamaica that we all went to. And when we checked in, Jackie, Charles, myself, and my wife Iris. And when we were finished checking in, they gave Charles the best room in the whole place. So we was wondering, why did he give Charles the best room in the whole place? But come to find out, we found out that people who were checking Charles in thought he was the general manager coming and check on the place. So we've had a laugh about that for quite some time. Every time we talked about it, it was pretty funny. So he was promising that next time we go, that he will hook us up because he was a general manager, so he's going to hook us up. But unfortunately, we haven't had that opportunity to go back. And I'm going to miss Charles tremendously. We were friends. He's a brother, and he's always going to be my brother. He took care of my sister. All those years they've been married, and he took care of my sister. And I'm promised to you, Charles, that I'm going to take care of Jackie in your stead. I am getting emotional about this, so I miss you, brother. That's all I've got to say. I miss you. You've been a good friend. And you've been a good husband to my sister. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Iris Ashmead, and Charles was my brother-in-law. But quite frankly, he was more like a brother to me. He was kind, he was good, and wittier than people knew, and just absolutely brilliant. We had the opportunity to travel, my husband Kirk and I, with he and Jackie, to St. Kitts. We have a place there, as well as to Jamaica. They came here for holidays, and they came for our retirements from the Navy, and it was just spectacular. We will miss him more than I can ever express. Charles, no, we will take care of Jackie. We love her, and I know her Denver family loves her too. God bless you, and thank you so much for doing this tribute to our brother Charles. Goodbye.
Charles was my uncle. I've spent many holidays with him, Thanksgivings, Christmas. Every time I met him, he was always so stoic, down to earth. I never have heard him raise his voice. He's always been such a kind man. And he wrote an article about his family. I can't believe that's the last one, but maybe it is fitting because his family loves him so much. He's definitely missed. I know my Aunt Jackie is in a lot of pain, and I just want to tell her that I love her so much. And I know that Charles has protected you, and he is looking over you now and wishing nothing but the best for you. I love you.
Hi there, my name is Imani Ashmead Carlisle, and I had the distinct pleasure of calling Charles Emmons my uncle. There's so many warm moments and great memories that we've shared throughout the years, but something that stands out to me is the fact that we're both journalists. That was something that we were able to share. I'm a television producer for a station here in Atlanta, and of course he worked with you guys. He always had such a steadfast commitment to the news, to truth, and to combating falsehood. On days that were particularly hard, when the news cycle just seemed to never end, he would always send me a text of encouragement, just letting me know that everything was gonna be okay. So, rest in peace, Uncle Charles. You're loved so, so dearly.
I've had a lot of fun memories with my Uncle Charles throughout the years, but a major one I remember was when I was little. I took my first trip to Colorado, and I got to stay with my Uncle Charles and Aunt Jackie. During that time, I got to sightsee with him, just all the fun touristy things to do, along just with showing me around Denver, Colorado. And the best day I remember was the Renaissance Festival. It was just a lot of fun. I remember having so much fun. And then another big memory I have with him was for about 3 years I would take volleyball trips to Colorado for volleyball tournaments, and he would be there at every single game cheering me on, supporting me, and taking countless pictures to show how proud he was of me. My Uncle Charles is a very sweet, caring, compassionate, and just overall supportive uncle, and I'm grateful for him.
Charles Emmons, my cousin. It's not often that a person gets a chance to think of the words that your ancestors say to you when you were little. And when Charles came to visit me in Boston when he was in college, I introduced him to my friends. And I said, oh, I've known him all his life, since he was a baby. And of course, you know, come on, Ed, come on. But it's a joy to have seen that blossoming and growing from the love he shares in his words, in his writings, in his art, and working with all kinds of people. He was a blessing to all of us, and especially to Jackie and the rest of his family.
My name is Greg Allen.
And I'm Lisa Allen.
Been good friends with Charles and Jackie Emmons for over 25 years. And we're in the mountains, freezing. But we know Charles loves it up here. We had the opportunity to ski together, and always talked about doing it again up here at Ski Cooper in Leadville. And obviously, time slips away. So let that be a lesson to all of us. Charles and I enjoyed each other's company. I think we were probably polar opposites with regard to our political beliefs, and in spite of that, he still put up with me.
He's just another one of my big brothers.
Good family, great friends. We miss him dearly.
We love you, Charles.
Love you, Charles. See you on the other side.
Charles was an amazing individual who was more of a brother to me than a friend. One of the things I loved and admired most about Charles was he was what many would refer to as a man of few words. But those few words had a lot of meaning, power, and they resonated with you. We may not be able to see Charles every day, speak with him, or hear his laugh, but we would think of him often because of the huge footprint he left here for us all. Charles, we miss you, but we will think of you often.
I met Charles way back in the 1980s when his brother married my sister. And besides going to all the family gatherings and bumping into each other at the clubs growing up in Denver, I think my favorite memory of Charles was way back in the 80s when we spent a day downtown Denver doing a fashion photo shoot for my friend Sonal and I, trying to build a little portfolio. And Charles was our art director, sending us standing on ledges and laying in the grass and doing all sorts of unique things to get the great, perfect photo. So I still have those pictures, not sure if Charles kept his. And I will miss Charles and his quiet humor and his talent.
What can I say about my Uncle Charles that hasn't already been said? Everybody who knew him knows he was kind and gentle and soft-spoken, not one with a lot to say, but when he did have something to say, it was always very thoughtful. When he laughed, it was always sincere. And I think that's what I'm going to miss the most about my Uncle Charles. His laughter and just the time we had visiting for holidays and other celebrations throughout life. Uncle Charles was always proud and motivated, and I learned a lot from him, and I will miss him dearly. I I love you very much.
It's my honor and great privilege to pay tribute to my friend Charles Emmons. I first met Charles as a sophomore in high school. He was a senior. And my first memory of Charles is how he was so kind to take us youngsters under his wing, very patiently guiding us and showing us the ropes at the new high school. He was the best big brother that a young student could ever have. I was very happy to reconnect with him several years later after graduation, and he was the same man that he was as a young student in high school, always very patient, always very willing to listen, always looking to share his wisdom with others. I miss him dearly, and I just thank God for having the opportunity to have him in my life. God bless you, Charles.
My name is Robert Fulmer, the Executive Director of Youth with a Future. At this time, our prayers and blessings go out to the Emmons family.
I'm Margaret Fulmer, the former Executive Director of Denver Kids, Inc., a merger of Denver Boys and Denver Girls. I met Charles and his brother Tom back in the 80s when they were volunteering on committees, on the board of directors, and most of all as mentors and role models for the boys who came from father absence homes. Charles was a perfect mentor, having lost his dad at an early age, modeling the resiliency and the tenacity to still excel academically and become a productive member of his community, which is the mission of the program. He continued his service by giving inspirational books to each graduate, letting them know that commencement is just not an end, but the beginning of the next chapter. I'd like to thank his family for sharing Charles with us, and that his legacy lives on in the many lives he has touched, which is what we were all created for. May God bless you and give you comfort and peace at this difficult time.
Charles was a person, number one, who was concerned, involved, and supportive of our program, in fact, of all youth. He challenged our students to complete their education and to fulfill their God-given purpose. Charles wrote a number of articles about our program in the urban spectrum. It was the summer of 2017 when we were able to take our students to Washington, D.C. to visit the African American Museum. And in the September article of the Urban Spectrum, he titled the article, Developing Future Leaders Through History. It was well received, and our students really appreciated the article. We are grateful for his support of our program and Youth with the Future, and in general. We will certainly miss him.
For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jackie Emmons. I'm Charles's wife. Events of 2020 have affected my sensibilities on many levels. The ultimate blow to my psyche and heart was the unexpected passing of my husband, Charles. He had a heart attack in our home the morning of December 4th. It has been the most devastating experience of my life. I met Charles in the summer of 1994. We were introduced to each other by one of Charles's former employees, George, who was a student in my Psychology of Communication class at Metropolitan State College of Denver. After some very opinionated discussions in class, George, for whatever reason, decided his old boss and I would make a great couple and asked me if I would like to meet him. George suggested that we go over to the campus computer store and I could check Charles out without him knowing. A few days later, we trekked on over to the computer store and found Charles busily working in his office. George interrupted and introduced me and told Charles I was shopping for a computer. Charles proceeded to show me a few computers, and of course, I could not keep a straight face. So I told him I was not quite ready to make a purchase. When I returned to class later in the week, George asked me, "What did you think of Charles?" I said he seemed like a nice guy, and I gave George permission to give Charles my phone number. Charles also gave George permission to give me his number. After a couple of phone conversations, Charles and I agreed to meet at St. Mark's Coffee House in Larimer Square at the end of summer semester. We met for coffee and felt so at ease with each other, we proceeded to walk around Larimer Square, visited a few galleries, and ended the evening with dinner at a Chinese restaurant. We thoroughly enjoyed spending time together. After several years of dating, we got married in April 2000, and the rest, as they say, is history. Charles was a very gentle, kind, and caring person. He admired and adored his mother, Audrey, who passed away September 1st of this year. Charles enjoyed spending time with family and friends, cooking and writing. And Christmas was one of his favorite time of year, as he enjoyed shopping for gifts and wrapping them. He was an awesome gift wrapper, and the plain old gift box was not sufficient for whatever we were giving. It had to have a bow and a ribbon, or ribbons with squiggles. When Charles retired in 2011, he became the head chef in our household, and he did all the grocery shopping. It was wonderful to come home from work and be told to take a seat and relax. Dinner would be ready soon. He was quite creative in the kitchen. He prepared the most delicious omelets on Sunday mornings and improved in some of the dishes I made when I did cooking. He loved kitchen gadgets, so of course when he cooked, there was a lot to clean up, but that was okay because everything was always delicious. He thoroughly enjoyed being in that kitchen. Charles enjoyed traveling. We had the pleasure of joining our friends on a Caribbean cruise in 2001, and were thrilled when a normally reserved Charles joined us on the dance floor and showed us a few of his moves. He really got down. I think he was having a good time. He was enchanted by the scenery, the food, and the people on more recent trips to Jamaica, St. Kitts, and Nevis, where he always had his camera at the ready. We were fortunate to travel to Honolulu with my brother Kurt and his wife Iris in February 2020, just before the COVID lockdown. We all had a wonderful time. In November 2019, we moved to our new home in Green Valley Ranch, and I retired in December 2019. We were looking forward to spending our retirement years traveling or just relaxing and doing whatever moved us. We enjoyed going for walks and exercising together in the gym at our neighborhood clubhouse. It breaks my heart that we were not able to spend more time together in retirement. Charles was my best friend. The things I enjoyed doing most with Charles were hiking Hanging Lake Trail in Glenwood Springs, Boot Falls Trail, and Strawberry Lane Trail in Vail. And we went horseback riding at the Sea Lazy U Ranch in Granby. We both loved jazz and enjoyed attending jazz concerts and listening to local bands at the various art festivals and venues around Denver. On our honeymoon in New Orleans, we took a riverboat jazz dinner cruise along the Mississippi River and visited some of the music venues along the French Quarter. We had a wonderful time. We did a lot together throughout the 20 years. So I'm not quite sure if I know how to go from being we. It's very difficult. I went into a mental fog when Charles passed away. I did not know what my next step should be. This was difficult for me since over the past few years, I was the person everyone depended on to make funeral arrangements for several family members that passed away. With COVID-19 restrictions in place, I had no idea how to organize a fitting memorial for Charles. When B. Harris heard about Charles's passing, she quickly sprang into action and proceeded to solicit commemorative videos from Charles's Facebook friends and made plans to republish Charles's Urban Spectrum articles. I'm forever grateful to B. Harris, Tanya Ishikawa, Cecily Perrin, Jan Thomas, Bobby Wells, and Jody Gilbert for their contribution in making the video and digital publication possible. Thank you to everyone who shared your memories of Charles on video. Kirk, Iris, Richard, Erica, other friends and family, thank you for obeying the COVID-19 protocol and honoring my request that you remain in your respective states. I know it was difficult for you to stay away. However, I could never forgive myself if you flew to Denver to be with me and ended up contracting the virus. Richard and Erica, you already know from experience what that is like. I love you all very dearly. Thank you to friends and acquaintances in Colorado who stepped in to fill the breach and helped me navigate this difficult period of loss and sorrow in the absence of my family residing outside Colorado. Special thanks to Lisa Allen and Deborah Dennis for spending a few days after Charles's passing with me. Thank you to Greg Allen, Lisa's husband, for his support and understanding during this difficult time. Thank you to Karen, Amber, Miranda, Martha, and John for visiting and provided much needed comfort food during your visits. Thank you to everyone who called periodically to check on me. I truly feel blessed to have such a large network of people who care about me and who cared about Charles. I appreciate you all and may God bless you.